And welcome back to the Delaware Boys Nice Football Podcast. Ryan, say what's up to the people.
Welcome back, everybody. How we doing this fine afternoon? We're back, baby. We got one more position to run through for these tiers. This is actually going to serve as our Dynasty ranking, so we're going to go through all these receivers. That being said, there is a lot to run through. We're going to split it up between conferences. So tonight we're going to do NFC, and then the following stream we're going to go to AFC. It's going to help us knock these streams down from 2.5 to maybe like an hour 15. I figure it's probably better for viewership anyway. And ready to knock this thing out.
On top of that, fellas, everybody's going to be joining in tonight. Remember, any questions you got for fantasy playoffs, let's do it. Ask away. Here we are. I want to say our start-sit last time was pretty solid, if I'm not mistaken.
I didn't see the numbers last time.
I had a couple of Twitter DMs come through, and people were like, "Yeah, we appreciate you," and it definitely panned out in certain aspects. Like Ryan said, the bread and butter of the skill position group is the wide receivers. There are so many wide receivers to rank. We started with our D tier. We knocked it out. We knocked out the fat. There's a lot of great wide receivers we want to talk about that deserve to have bullet points hit about. Just know that this is going to take a while, and if you're going to watch all of it, we appreciate you.
Yeah. Amen.
So also, full disclaimer, there are a couple people that are not listed on these tiers. We couldn't get people in the tiers. We are going to talk about them, and we are going to place them. And we are going to post our tier rankings to Twitter, and we are going to then allow you guys to communicate with us via that. So just know they are going to be on the final list. The final list they are going to be on.
Right.
But for right now, they are not here. But we are going to place them, and we're going to place them accurately. Without further ado, the NFC wide receivers. Let's do it. That's not it. That'd be it. All right. Here we go. We knocked out the fat. We trimmed the fat down.
Yep.
So, Ryan, I'm also going to bring this up too if there's any comments. We have 7 people in the chat. Guys, feel free to, comment here. Ryan, S tier, baby. The bread and butter of the wide receiver position. Certified ballers.
I feel like our plan here before podcast here was to knock out, kind of go in order. And I feel like our first argument, at least between each other, starts with the one spot. I 100% in my heart still throw JJ up there at 1. I know you've been back and forth between Jamar and JJ, but I feel comfortable putting JJ at the top of my S tier.
No problem. Yeah. Okay, so here's where we are with JJ. Masterful seasons. We've seen multiple seasons over 1,400 yards, 1,800 yards last year. This year, 3 straight games over 140 yards receiving. Him and Tyreek Hill were on pace to break the 2,000-yard mark at the earliest thing. Unfortunately, injury took that away from us for JJ. Tyreek has to hit massive numbers to do it, but here we are. JJ, obviously, a lot of people are going to talk about the connection Chase will have with Burrow for the rest of his career. Huge connection. On top of that, Jamar Chase typically gets in the end zone more than Justin Jefferson. So, but he also doesn't draw 184 targets.
I was going to say it's fine for JJ and what he does with the ball. Despite the touchdowns, he's still finished above Chase. Yeah, he gets hurt, but you're still looking at even with a couple off weeks coming back from injury, he's still averaging 97.4 yards per game. So I'd imagine before he got injured, he's sitting above 100. Absolute dog. I mean, what's there to say about Justin Jefferson? Yeah, the injuries suck, but I mean, you got to weather the storm, especially in dynasty formats. Even in redraft, I would imagine JJ is probably still 1 or 2.
Oh yeah, for sure. So am I next on the board?
Yeah, go ahead.
Remember, NFC only, everybody. Number 2 NFC wide receiver belongs to another other than Mr. CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee.
Let's be honest. I personally have CD when he came out as the number one wide receiver in the class with Justin Jefferson. Unfortunately, that has kind of bit me in the ass a little bit just due to the fact that JJ had such a hot start. But here we are. We are now seeing the CeeDee Lamb that I projected to see. This dude's a stud, absolute stud. At this point in the season, we are talking about a touchdown in 6 straight games for CeeDee Lamb. It is a monster season to start. It wasn't the prettiest game in Buffalo, obviously, for the Cowboys, but here we are. We're talking about we're going to hit all-time highs in targets. We're going to hit highs in receptions, yardages, possible touchdowns. What can I say? After year 2, we're talking about 1,100 yards. We're now at the 1,300-yard mark. Last year, over 1,300 yards. We're now at the 1,300-yard mark and going into week 16. Here we are, man. CeeDee Lamb has arrived. He's a baller.
Oh, yeah. He's hooping. We won't comment on how high you are on CD, but I mean, he's here. He's got 1,300. He'll probably push for
15, 16.
Probably just over 15, I would imagine. That's being a little bit modest. 8 scores, saved by a touchdown run last week, but nonetheless, still gets the touchdown. Highly involved in this offense. Any way they can get them the ball. What's funny is this is like not much to do with it. You kind of said your piece with him, but I'll say Jerry Jones came out and said that he didn't know how he felt about CeeDee Lamb's usage, and they were going to use him less. And ever since he said that, they used him more.
Absolutely.
So I thought that was funny. But I mean, yeah. Definitely career high in targets for sure. He's already got 141. It was waiting out Cooper for him and then settling into the role for himself. So CeeDee Lamb, I have no problem with him being right behind JJ, especially NFC terms.
I got a question coming in here from Royer. I want to play it. There it goes. Boom. Star 3, non-PPR, Mixon, Connor, Aaron Jones, Pacheco, Chandler. Okay. I know my answer pretty easily here, to be honest.
Easily?
Pacheco is going to be on the field. No question. I'm starting Pacheco against the Las Vegas Raiders. Mixon is going to be in this for me as well. Mixon playing the Steelers, who are 23rd in the league against the run. Easy. From this point on, I am looking at Aaron Jones, and I'm going to tell you why. Aaron Jones was 17 touches last week in his first week back, gets the Carolina Panthers 30th in the league against the run. If there's any mix for you, let me know, but those are my 3.
I agree with you on the first 2. I'm kind of on the fence at Ty Chandler. I mean, obviously it's a wait and see. If Madison's playing, you probably go Aaron Jones, but I think it comes into question if Madison misses another week. I think Ty Chandler going against the Lions isn't a bad matchup either.
I also don't want to play the number 1 run defense in the league at this current moment, being Detroit.
It's fair.
So I'm looking to utilize matchups here to a per volume basis. If Aaron Jones is in line for 17 plus touches in Carolina, I want him. Pacheco playing the Raiders, it's a divisional game.
Yeah,
they haven't looked good through the air. I'm talking as in reference to the Kansas City Chiefs. And Mixon is the bell cow of this offense. Mixon is going to carry you through this playoff run.
I'm 100% with you on Mixon and Pacheco. I always forget the Lions are so good against the run. So I mean, yeah, we'll give it to Aaron Jones. He's burned a lot of people. 17 touches is nice, but is he going to get that every game? I mean, given it's against Carolina, great matchup. Kind of hard to sit him.
It's hard to sit Aaron Jones.
Hard to sit Aaron Jones. So, yeah, I'll probably lean Aaron Jones only because Madison coming back could definitely – a committee against Detroit is probably not the best thing in the world.
Yep.
So yeah, Mixon, Aaron Jones, Pacheco.
You're asking the running back guy.
Yeah, facts.
All right, Ryan, keep it pushing, baby.
So next one's a little bit controversial even for me. It's very, very close to my mind. Next up on this list, but as of right now, give me AJ Brown next up. 141 targets, same amount of CeeDee Lamb on the season, 95 catches, absolutely explosive with the ball in his hand, highly using this offense. I get everybody in this Eagles offense is a little bit hindered by the tush push. But AJ Brown's a big focal point in this offense, and he's not going anywhere anytime soon as long as Jalen Hurts is the quarterback there. And he's linked for what, another 4 years?
Yep.
So I ride it out, keep that connection, AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts rolling.
Alrighty. That means I'm up. So, next receiver is pretty easy for me. Give me the Sun God.
Right.
To be fair, this is the best football we've seen Amon-Ra St. Brown play, and we also seen injuries missed here. Bruce, don't do this to me, man. Oh my God, Bruce, don't do this to me. All right, I'm going to answer this question in 1 second, but let me get to the Amon-Ra St. Brown stuff here. So what I was saying is we've seen Amon-Ra St. Brown attacking a different versatile assets this year. We've seen him work more in the middle of the field, highest yards per target, highest yards per catch in his career. He's already broken his touchdown mark last year in 6. He's at 7 this year. All-time high in targets to this point. I'm going to assume all-time high in receptions as well. Granted, please remember that he missed games as well. He missed time in games. He had that ankle injury. This dude, for where he was, and as a 4th round pick, he has exceeded all expectations. Amon-Ra St. Brown is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, let alone the NFC. Like he said, Amon-Ra and AJ Brown are interchangeable. Whoever you choose to hold it doesn't matter to me at all.
It doesn't. They're razor thin
here.
Yeah.
Shoo. Oh my God.
So as far as Coach Bruce goes, I mean, Jake Brown's been playing okay. I get Dak had an off game. I think I'm still rolling out CD. 6 straight games with a touchdown.
He said, who do you prefer, Chase or CD in Dynasty?
Oh, in Dynasty. It's not start sit. Jesus. Okay, yeah, that gets a little more spicy.
Oh, man.
I read the question wrong. I'm sorry, Bruce.
Oh, man. Bruce, this is a good question, buddy. I mean, so when I looked at Jamar Chase's rookie season, I mean, look at how he attacked the field. Look at the yards per target, yards per catch. We're talking about almost like 18 yards per catch, a number that Ryan will say is almost unsustainable in the NFL. 13 touchdowns. Granted, he only ended up with 81 targets that season, but we've seen like upticks in his receptions as well. I think being linked to Joe Burrow, obviously the contract's not done for Chase yet, which it will be done. But I think being linked to Joe Burrow is something that sets me over the edge here. These guys are a lot closer to me than Chase is to Justin Jefferson. At this point, Jefferson's my clear-cut 1.
Wow, finally
I think Lamb and Chase are a lot closer than what people want to admit. Give me Chase by a slim margin.
Yeah, Dynasty wise, give me Chase, but it is close. We'll get more into him in the next podcast, but yeah, he'll probably sandwich himself between JJ and Chase. I'm glad we're in agreement there.
Yeah, for sure. No. Lamb or Chase and Dynasty.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah. I read it wrong. I was like, good Lord, what even situation are you in to be sitting or starting one or the other?
Yeah, great question. I will say, though, for Ryan's sake, they are interchangeable. I do prefer the Sun God over AJ Brown, just so everybody is clear.
I just like the connection with Jalen Hurts. They're keeping it moving. I mean, I get Jared Goff with the mover now, but
Jared Goff, top 10 QB.
Yeah, but is he signed? I don't think he's signed.
It don't matter.
It might.
All right, baby, let's ride.
All right. It's no longer easy at this point.
Oh, it is so easy. It is staring you right in the face.
Am I blind to my own eyes?
You are blind. It's staring you right in the face, baby.
God, it's just the thing is, I don't want to go full screen. So I got all my stats on the other page. I can't hardly see any of these fucking faces, man.
It is staring you right in the face, baby.
It's not, bro. Take it.
Can I have it?
Yeah, take it.
No question. The next man up in the NFC. The next man up in the NFC. He's not getting enough love, ladies and gentlemen. It is Brandon Ayuk.
Jesus.
Here's the A-tier gap. Here's where we start the A-tier run. Okay. We have Mr. Wide Receiver 13 on the season, and Brock Purdy is 32nd in the league in pass attempts. Yet he is second in the league in air yards. or in yards. Sorry. Whew. Brandon Ayuk is the best season of his career. He's 95% win rate against man, 97% win rate against zone. This is the Brandon Ayuk we saw out of Arizona State. Balling. Yes, he plays with George Kittle. Yes, he plays with Debo. Yes, he plays with Christian McCaffrey. Brandon Ayuk, 18.47 yards per catch, over 12.5 yards per target. Yes, he only has 59 receptions on the season. I get it. But Brandon Ayuk's talent is going to shine. This kid is special.
I can't even find him on this entire list. Oh my God, there he is. Good Lord. Okay, so here's my thing with Ayuk, and I don't mind him where you put him. I kind of lean towards somebody else a little bit more.
Take him, baby. Take him, baby.
Between the two of them, but I will say Ayuk, like you said, kind of has the same case where I was kind of against Jalen Waddle last year in that 18.5 yards per catch is not sustainable. But he is an absolute
Bruce, thank you for supporting the Sun God, baby.
But Ayuk is a baller, and you're right. The pass attempts for him, you can probably point to the catches for Ayuk more towards Purdy being last in league in attempts than anything else. But I love me some Ayuk, man. I've been on him for the last 2 years waiting for the breakout, and he's finally here. But next up for me, who I was leaning between the two. I saw the faces. I just didn't want to make a decision. Next up for me, though, is DJ Moore.
Fuck, man.
I get that a little bit of uncertainty with Justin Fields in his contract and all that, but
good pick.
But look, man,
good pick.
He's got 7 touchdowns in the season. He's up over 1,100 already. He's been successful in his career up until this point with terrible quarterbacks. He has Jalen Hurts. He's Justin Fields. He's not the biggest passer, but he's still producing big numbers this year. 111 targets, which is way more than I would have ever expected. With Fields being his quarterback. And
do you remember? Hey, do you remember when we had Julian Edelman, like our DJ Moore early career, like Julian Edelman arc path, like 4 touchdowns, 1,100 yards. That's it. Like now we've seen back-to-back 7 touchdown seasons. We're at the point where we may see DJ Moore finally break the 1,200 plus yard mark. I mean, great hit, great find, perfect, no question about it.
Yeah. I love DJ Moore too. Shot Maryland man. Love to see that.
Yeah, and plus DMV guy, we're from the DMV. Dude, DJ Moore at this point, I mean, this is the best ball he's playing. He's only 26. He's 26 years old, guys.
Yeah.
When he came into Carolina, he was a route technician. This dude is crazy in the open field, just crazy talented. I love DJ Moore, man.
Yeah, that and like an impressive 72 point. Make sure I'm getting this right. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, 72.1% catch rate, which is insane. That's up there with like the best of the best. For example, Tyreek Hill's at 73.5. He's not too far behind that. So he keeps getting better and better, and he doesn't need a great quarterback to succeed, and I love that about him. Who you got next, Steve?
I'm torn between 2, but I'm gonna go ahead and make the right choice. It's gonna be Chris Olave.
Okay.
Again, I did not think that when he went to when he was drafted by New Orleans and we got Derek Carr here, I did not think that it was going to be the end all be all to the QB situation. I actually don't like him with Derek Carr. I'd rather see him with Jameis Winston, to be honest. But it's hard to deny the fact that back-to-back years you lead the league in air yards. You're one of the most highly targeted wide receivers in the NFL on a per game basis. 400-yard games in this season already. I do personally remember the fact that he was a very underutilized target, had a very underutilized target share through weeks. I want to say it was like 4 through 7. In the same aspect, talent's undeniable.
Yeah.
At this point in his career, he's on the DJ Moore archetype as well. 1,000+ yards, consistent target numbers, 85+ catches, 4 to 6 touchdowns. That's just where he's at. He reminded me a lot of DJ Moore coming out of college anyway. I personally think he's more talented than DJ Moore when DJ Moore came in the league. So at this point, it's just the QB situation that scares me. Their QB situation scares me more than Chicago's. New Orleans is just behind the 8 ball. There's nothing great in New Orleans. They don't have the top 5 defense they had of years past. Kamara's aging. There's really no true number 2 threat other than Rashid Shaheed and Juwan Johnson in sparing full situations. Chris Olave is all the New Orleans Saints have, to be honest.
Yeah, we've been high on Olave for a while now, especially during the rookie draft process. Talent's there, 100%. Like you said, letting air yards. He'll hit over the 1,000 mark despite having mediocre quarterback play.
And
I have no problem with him
injuries. Please remember he has been injured this year as well.
Yeah, and I think these next, like, between the next 3 is very, very close. I know you're going back and forth between 2. I was going between 3.
Lock him in, baby. Lock him in, baby.
For me personally, I think the guy that constantly finds himself a little bit too low on wide receiver rankings, give me DK Metcalf up next. And I may be missing somebody, but for me, it was between him and Devontae Smith.
Fair enough.
I give the slight edge to DK because he is the one in this offense. He's a dog. He's the big red zone guy, which is kind of rare nowadays, believe it or not. Not a lot of receivers getting a whole lot of work in the red zone. DK is an absolute dog. He's got only 56 catches on the season, but 16 8-point yards per catch, 7 touchdowns. Once again, a guy that's kind of suffering by mediocre quarterback play. He's got Geno Smith, who's having an off season despite what he did last year. I like DK going forward. That's kind of where I'm at with it. I mean, you have Lockett on the back end of his career, JSN on the uptick, but I would imagine that DK is probably going to still have that one role.
That did not mean to happen. Hold on. Let me get out of here.
How do you feel about that? You lean anybody else above?
Hold on one second. My screen didn't go full. There we go. Now we're back. They're close, but my next guy is definitely Devontae. There's no question about it. So Devontae here, I mean, obviously we all know his resume too, Heisman Trophy winner, here we are. Last year, wide receiver 9 on a PPR basis, finished with over 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns. And here we are. He's back on that same per game basis. Over his last 5 weeks, he's averaging over 90 receiving yards a game. Last week failed at 50. Okay, I get it. But we're also talking about a number 2 wide receiver who's probably never going to see over 130 targets in a single season. He saw 136 last year. I think that might be his high until him and A.J. Brown decide to split apart.
Yeah.
But at this point, he's just one of those guys, consistent, very consistent. He's an alpha type wide receiver playing as number 2. He gets a lot of easier looks as opposed to what A.J. Brown gets at times. Again, we're talking about, same around the same numbers on the yards per target, yards per carry, or yard per catch basis. He has a chance to break his 7 touchdowns from last year. He sits at 6. We're going into week 16. I love this offense. I love everything about this offense. I love Swift. I love Brown. I love Devontae. I love Goddard. The Eagles are set on the offensive side of the ball for a pretty good while, as long as the offensive line holds up to the elite level it's played at. I think DK and Devontae and Olave are pretty close. You can interchange either one of them. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Absolutely. And like I said, those 3, they're so close for me. All 3 of them, they really are. I think you can put them in any order, and I wouldn't really be mad at you. So you can put Smith at the top of this list, and I wouldn't scoff. I mean, despite him being a wide receiver 2 in his offense, he still leads all 3 in receiving yards. I just don't love the wide receiver 2 in the offenses because they have up and down games. I don't think that's something that I love in my fantasy team. I like consistency over boom or bust, but that's just how I run teams. Everybody's a little bit different.
Yeah, I'm a big Devontae Smith guy, so you're never going to hear anything from me.
Yeah. All right, so I think it's time. I mean, he's not on this list. It's a little bit of a layup for me, but I think it's time to talk about Puka Nacua.
God damn you, man. Okay, guys. So here.
He's not here.
He's not here. So
Not
be a
here.
fact, he's not here. He is going to go right next to Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
Understand that we are gonna put Puka in. We're gonna find a way to get him into this. Puka is not listed. Puka is going to go right next to Devontae Smith.
Yep. And look, I mean, he's the 2, but he's aging Cooper Kupp. I mean, get him. He's pretty much cooked. We saw what he does without Cooper Kupp in the beginning of the season in this McVay offense. As long as Stafford's the quarterback, I love Puka going forward. I think he absolutely deserves to belongs in this A tier list. I know it's his rookie season. I mean, we may be jumping the gun a little bit, but I mean, dude's been a monster. Has his production kind of fallen off touchdown wise at the end of the season? Sure, that's fair. He got most of his touchdowns in the first few weeks of the season, but he's still sitting. He'll probably still get over 1,300 yards in the season as a rookie. Maybe over 100 catches. So I mean, how can you scoff at that for a rookie season?
Somebody wrote a love to Puka Nacua before the season started. I don't remember who that was, but Puka Nacua is Stephen Chalmers' red flag planted. That's my guy. Yeah, you're never gonna hear me say anything bad about Puka Nacua. I loved his profile coming out of BYU. Is one of the most underrated profiles I've got to scout. I got to watch. The way he played the game, his body size, his control, his strength, his ability to play sideline to sideline, his interchangeable game speeds, the way he plays the game. I've been a huge fan of Puka. I never expected him to come in and make this kind of impact this early, but to say I'm surprised, I'm not. I mean, it's not very often rookie wide receivers are averaging almost 17 fantasy points a game. On top of that, he has 135 targets, and we're in week 16. We have 3 games left to play, excuse me. At this point, I don't know if he'll hit the 100 catch mark. He's at 87. It's pretty close.
Okay,
but he exceeded all expectations for any Puka Nacua lover. It doesn't matter. This kid is the real deal.
Yeah, it's a shame he's not on here.
It is absolutely.
We normally make our tier lists, but we haven't really had time this year, so couldn't find with him in it. But this is the next best thing. We will get him in there in the final picture on Twitter. We promise you that. But as of right now, you're just gonna have to imagine his beautiful flow right next to Devontae Smith.
What a beautiful flow. Absolute beautiful flow.
All right, Steve. You break it into the B tier yet? You got one more guy for the A tier.
Oh, man. I'm deciding. Let me think for a minute.
Yeah.
All right. I am going to put one more rookie here. One more rookie is going to go here. It's going to be Jordan Addison.
Okay.
Okay.
State your case.
It's close. It's close between him and Njigba. Me and you always talked about the fact that I thought Jordan Addison walked into a more fantasy relevant opportunity in his rookie year.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I have not been disappointed by Jordan Addison. His QB play has dropped off drastically as opposed to what we saw with Kirk Cousins early season. You got a couple of great games from Josh Dobbs, then he comes back to earth. So now we have Nick Mullins, some Jaron Hall QB play in here as well. I mean, we're talking about a guy who's playing behind TJ Hawkinson, Justin Jefferson. He really got to shine when JJ went down in certain aspects. I mean, we're talking about a rookie here who's probably going to push for 1,000 yards. He's probably going to push for double-digit touchdowns. He's at 9 to start his season. Over 13.2 yards per catch. Almost a 10 yards per target. We're at 9 yards per target here. Just peripherals you want to see. We always talked about Jordan Addison, me and you. I always had him as my wide receiver 1 for the rookie class this year. Got to watch him a lot. He's from the University of Pittsburgh. Kenny Pickett's, major year there. That was Kenny's guy. Jordan Addison was my guy. And I've been very impressed. Very impressed.
Yeah.
To say the least. I think Jordan Addison deserves to be here.
I think I don't know. I kind of lean him towards the B side of things, but I won't argue with you too much. That and like, man, I like Addison. He had a 3-week span where he wasn't playing great, but I mean, I guess you can look at quarterback play more so than anything else. I think we'll settle in this offense, but like you said, man, being in an offense with Hawk and JJ, who are both young studs, is kind of rough, especially going forward with like, is Kirk Cousins going to stay? Is he going to go? What's going on with him? But at the same time, I mean, he's looked great. I mean, he's had his games where he's kind of disappeared recently, but for the most part, especially early season, he was a ball with Kirk Cousins.
111 yards and 2 touchdowns.
I mean, look at the 3 games before that, though. They're going under 10 fantasy points.
Bro, he's averaging more fantasy points than DK Metcalf on a per-game basis.
Hey, man. Talk your talk, man.
He's averaging more fantasy points than Chris Olave on a per-game basis. What are we talking about?
Numbers ain't numbering if that's the case. How can he average more, I guess, touchdowns? Okay.
What are we talking about?
Nothing, I guess.
I don't know what you mean.
I mean, what? Look, I'm just pointing at it. You look at 3 straight games after what week 8 were almost
right.
non-startable games.
How many people are going to hit the rookie wall here? I mean, we haven't talked about Quentin Johnson's historically terrible start.
Can't do that yet either. Anyway,
I mean, we're talking about a young rookie here who's finding his way, and I mean, the kid has played good football. Good football. Fair I mean, and then you go into your fantasy playoff game, dude puts up 6 catches, 111 yards, 2 tutties, and you're like, oh wow, it stands out as one of those games. You know, I mean, he also had a 10 target, 7 catch, 123 yard, 2 touchdown game, and you know, what I mean, on top of that, he had a stretch where he scored a touchdown or more in 4 straight games. Started out with 2 touchdowns back-to-back games his rookie year. There's a lot of positive things to say about Jordan Addison, buddy.
No, I'm not saying that. I just A tiers.
Talk, baby.
Look at the rest of the guys in the A tier, man. I mean, I get like per game basis. You're right. I mean, you got it.
Right.
Like you got to think into it. JJ missed a majority of the season this year. Kirk Cousins did go down, so that hurts. But I don't know. It's tough. It's tough when I think JJ will get the bulk of the targets. Then I think it's close between Hawk and Addison going forward.
So next year, you know, I mean, obviously we're staying a little bit too much on the Jordan Addison aspect, but say Jordan Addison again draws T. Higgins targets. You know what I mean?
True.
I'm not saying.
I also don't love T. Higgins, but
I do. I think T. Higgins is a wide receiver 1 in the NFL. We will talk about that in the AFC side.
Not on the. I mean, yes, he is. He is. But as long as he's on the Bengals, it's tough.
Now, granted, like I said, he's at a wide receiver 17 on a fantasy points per game basis. So I do not think that Jordan Addison is going to be one of those guys with JJ and Hawk that's going to push for top 10 status. I'm not saying that.
Right.
What I'm saying is this. In the NFC, he is an A-tier wide receiver.
Fair. I guess we have to go to B tier now. I don't want to load this A tier up way too much.
Go ahead, buddy. Here you go. Here's your slam dunk. I'll even put him up there for you. There you go, buddy. He's right there.
It's funny because I'm actually going between 2 different guys for the top of B, but at the end of the day, you do have to take the youth. I mean, JSN, high profile out of college, a guy that I've loved, kind of coming into himself in this offense. I mean, you're behind one of the most notorious duos in the league in the past few years with DK and Lockett. It's a tough situation to come into. I think if you flop Addison and JSN situation, I think they're probably around the same situation. Addison got the better situation for sure. Better quarterback play. Actually, the wide receiver 2 in the offense instead of being buried in the slot. But no, the Seahawks, they used him very sparingly, mostly on bubble screens, short lower routes for the first half of the season. But towards the end here, they're letting him do his work. They're trusting him in clutch situations, as you saw last week with the game-winning touchdown. He's slowly coming to the offense. We'll see what happens to Lockett in the offseason. I think if JSN can get in that 2 spot where Lockett is now, I think he goes to the moon next year. I'm not going to sit here and tell you he'll have 1,300 yards, because I still think, we'll see where he sits with quarterback play next year. But he's also a young kid, man. He's young, dude. Was he 21, 22 next season?
22.
22 next season? Excuse me. I'm ready to roll. I'm willing to be patient with him. That's why I'm out with JSN, man. I just wish that the Seahawks would use him more often so we could see more. But like I said, it's rough being behind one of the best duos in the league.
His time's coming, buddy.
Yeah.
I watched Drew Lock and him just connect last week. And back in the end zone, just a hell of a catch by JSN, bro.
Beautiful.
I do think that his volume is obviously sparing this year. Like I told you, I thought that JSN walked into actually the worst situation out of the big three drafted between Quentin Johnson, Jordan Addison, and himself.
For sure.
I mean, you walk in as a wide receiver 3 on a run-first option, team here. We all know that Pete Carroll was a run-first guy in college. He continues that mold and that trend here with Seattle. It's no ill will towards him. Tyler Lockett has aged very gracefully for the veteran wide receivers that we talked about as well.
Yeah.
JSN's time is coming. You guys need to be patient with JSN. We've always preached that. And if you saw that touchdown grab last week, what a thing of beauty.
Yeah.
It really showed JSN. I also wanted to point out the fact on that touchdown catch, the separation between him and the DB.
Talk to me.
It was pretty. It was a pretty pass, guys. I ain't gonna lie to you. Drew Lock was hype. I love when I see a hype Drew Lock. I love he brought back the backpack celly. It was great.
Of the petty, I guess Jalen Hurts is sick when he couldn't find him for the handshake. That's funny.
My next guy here, no doubt, has outplayed expectations again here for this season. I was down on Debo going into it. But how can I sit here and not talk about a guy who's averaging over almost 18 fantasy points a game? And this is with 2 games missed here. We got 4 straight weeks of wide receiver 1 numbers here, guys. On top of the fact we have 6 weeks as a wide receiver 1 overall. We're back to prime Debo. We're back to probably going to look at like 40 plus carries again. We're looking at over 16 yards per catch here. We're looking at a first down per target. He's scoring touchdowns here. He looks like he's having fun over there in the Bay.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I don't know where he's been. I mean, I'm assuming he wasn't 100%, but now that he is, he's back being and using this offense. Honestly, anybody else in the 49er offense is insane. Plus, Debo still offers you that rushing upside, believe it or not. I thought they would have kind of done away with that, but he's getting involved again.
True.
Man, dude, I was so scared facing him in fantasy playoffs. Jesus Lord.
He's good, bro.
All right, so now we're getting into debate of there's like 3 guys here that I'm looking at. Such a tough call because there's a lot of talent left on here.
Sure.
Give me Mike Evans.
Ooh.
Give me Mike Evans. There's a couple guys here that I would put here, and if you want to, move it around when we get done, and you feel strongly about it, be my guest. But Mike Evans never had a season under 1,000 yards. He is 30 now. I'll give you that, but he shows no signs of slowing down. He's done it. He's done it with Jameis Winston, Tom Brady. Tom Brady's the easy one. That's a given. But and now Baker Mayfield. And he's 11 touchdowns with Baker Mayfield this season. It's 115 targets, 66 catches. I love me some Mike Evans, one of the most consistent fantasy receivers there is to own. Debate me on it, but I like Mike Evans here next, man.
You never hear me say a bad thing about Big Mike. Everybody here, if you're watching, there's 8 people here. Give Mike Evans a Hall of Fame jacket
Right now.
now.
Yesterday.
There's 11 people in here. Mike Evans, Hall of Fame jacket right now.
Right now.
It is crazy to me that this man has never had a first-team All-Pro in his life. Mike Evans is the most underrated wide receiver in the game.
Yeah, and every year, especially in Dynasty standpoint, you hear, oh, this is the year he's not going to get 1,000. This is the year he's not going to get 1,000. It's like, I think it's time we stop betting against him and maybe we start betting on him as a community. I mean, what's there not to like about Mike Evans?
Agreed. I'm going to be honest with you, too. I hate when people hate on Mike Evans, man. Dude's such an anomaly. Like, there's only 3 wide receivers in the history of the game to have 10 seasons of 1,000 yards. Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, Mike Evans. And guess what? He did it in the first 10 straight. It's insane. He has more 1,000-yard seasons than Larry Fitzgerald.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry. My wife's account was connected to the MacBook. Anyway, more than Fitzgerald, more than AB, more than Calvin Johnson, more than Tim Brown. I mean, we can keep going down the list. More than Marvin Harrison, more than Reggie Wayne, Steve Smith Sr. The list is crazy. His resume is unmatched.
Yeah.
Obviously not saying he's Terrell Owens. I'm not saying that.
Yeah. Give him his respect. And I think even from a dynasty standpoint, he's still a pretty valuable asset.
Yep. 100% agreed. Tough, man. This is real tough. But I have to do it. I love this kid's game, dude. I'm going Drake London.
I just wish Arthur Smith didn't exist. That's all I'm going to say about Drake London.
Sure. No question about it. But Drake London is a special wide receiver. There's no dude.
Jesus. Kristen,
answer the phone.
God.
Anyway, but what I'm saying is this. Drake London is a special wide receiver. There's no doubt about it. Unfortunately, we have not seen the best of Drake London to this point. But at the same time, we're going to talk about the peripherals here. I mean, obviously, you guys know, elite down the field talent, over almost 9 yards per target, over 13 yards per catch. Obviously, the volume hasn't been there. But I really want to relay the fact. And when you go back to, you can see it. You definitely saw it in that 11 target game a couple weeks ago with 172 yards. Drake London catches anything that comes his way. Drake London is a special, special talent. It is unfortunate the situation that he plays in. Arthur Smith has a family, damn. Dude. I don't care, Alex. Don't care.
Alex, we don't like – listen, man. As many times if you've been in these podcasts, dude, we hate Arthur Smith.
True. Drake London's a special talent, man. It really sucks that 3 first-round picks consecutive years, back to back to back, have been wasted on skill position guys that Arthur Smith does not plan on using. But I am going to ride the Drake London train. I think Drake London has a chance to be an A-tier wide receiver. Obviously, Mike Evans really can't move up at this point at 30 years old.
No.
Drake London is a special, special talent. And I really don't ever say that about USC wide receivers, but there's 2 on this list right now.
It's fair. And one's sitting in S tier.
Yes.
But, I agree. I mean, it's just the amazing thing with Drake London is if you look at his home and away splits, I think he's averaging 98 yards per catch during home games.
per game.
Per game, yeah, excuse me.
At home this year. That's drastic. That's 98 yards per catch. That's awesome.
Yeah, 98 yards per game. I apologize. Sorry. A miracle of God if he was averaging 98 yards per catch. I apologize. But, yeah, no, I love Drake. I'm a Drake London guy, too. I got no problem with that. And you took my next guy, so I guess that cleans up the next 3 for me. And this one's tough because you can go a couple of different routes even still with this one. Jesus, dude. Because now I'm still going between 3 guys even now. Because at what point do we stop disrespecting Cooper Kupp?
No, go ahead. Take Cooper Kupp.
I think I got to take Cooper Kupp.
Okay.
He's getting older. He's slowing down. You can definitely see it, but he still has his games where he looks like Cooper Kupp. Nakua's here now.
Dude, Cooper Kupp scored in 3 straight games. Of course, he looks like Cooper Kupp.
I was getting there. I was getting ready to say Puka's here. He's actively playing, but like you just said, 3 straight games to touchdown. He's still very involved in this offense.
Dude, he's been hurt. He's been hurt. He's been hurt, and he still has more 100-yard games than Debo and Mike Evans.
Yeah. And the only reason we discount him so much because this is Dynasty we're talking about. So, I mean, what 32 going on 33 next year. I think it's fair to put him where he's at. I think his best football is behind him. He's still going to be productive in this offense.
Oh yeah, for sure. Ooh, I'm back. I'm back. Oh my God.
There's 2 here, Steve. 3 here.
Nah, I actually want to talk. Like, I have been looking to talk about this guy for a while now. I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. Especially, yep, I'm doing it, man. He's gonna be special. Give me Jaden Reed. Give me Jaden Reed. I know Alex is here. Alex, I know you're a Jaden Reed fan. So am I. I got to watch Jaden Reed at Michigan State. He was a huge piece of Michigan State. Big fan of Jaden Reed. I love the way they get him involved. I love the way they move him all over the field. I love the way that he scored twice off handoffs. He's got 11 carries. On top of that, we've seen the volume rise. I mean, we've seen 4 games of 8 targets or more as a rookie. Remember, this offense is a very young offense. You have a young head coach in Matt LaFleur who got to work with Aaron Rodgers. I truly do not believe when you have a QB like Aaron Rodgers, you truly have to call games. I don't think you have to call games.
Yes, sir, Alex.
Now you get Jordan Love. We all expected a first-year starter. We expected the highs and lows to see it. I've seen good things from Jordan Love. I like where this offense is at. I like this young wide receiver core that Jordan Love's going to play with. I like Christian Watson. I like Jaden Reed. I like Dontavian Wicks. I like Romeo Doubs. I like the tight end combination. I like Luke, and I like Tucker Kraft. Alex says it. To me, the best wide receiver in Green Bay. And to be honest, the kid's a dog.
Yeah. Listen, he was someone that was on my radar all offseason. Late round guy, if you got him in drafts. And he's hit, man. I mean, he's involved in the receiving game and the rush game, surprisingly. They're getting the ball anyway.
People tried telling me Jonathan Mingo was better than Jaden Reed. Man, stop it.
Well, I wasn't.
Stop it.
No. I think anybody that knows ball, never mind, let me not comment. But yeah, no, Jaden Reed is a special talent. He's the best receiver in Green Bay.
Do you remember when Jonathan Mingo rose up draft boards? They were like, bro, this dude's it.
No. Well, I think he got the same hype, following Bryce Young because they were going to be connected and all this stuff. So he got a big push.
Don't care.
But it was always Jaden Reed.
Jaden Reed. I love it, Alex. I love it, baby.
And I think, some sit might sit here and tell you, hey, Christian Watson's still on this team. Give me Jaden Reed. Give me Jaden Reed.
Hey, peripherals stand for Christian Watson too. I think they're a great 1-2 combination. I think they're going to be a solid combination in the NFC as they grow together. I do.
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm faced with a tough decision here.
Sure.
Between 2 guys that I like both of them. I won't lie. One I'm a little bit down on, so I'm going to try not to have any recency biasy here or Delaware biasy. Sneak peek.
Dude, my boy.
Our guy.
Middletown alum.
Middletown, excuse me.
By the
way, Delaware.
By the way,
Dream podcast guest.
full disclaimer, I did play Chris Godwin in high school and football, and he is an absolute beast.
Tough for you, bud.
Tough. Tough. I think he was a sophomore in that game, and he went for like 195 yards and 4 touchdowns against us.
Tough season, man. I mean, tough game. Look, still, he's definitely taken the second role to Mike Evans this year with Baker Mayfield. You kind of saw that split with Tom Brady because Tom Brady can do that. You know what I mean? He doesn't really profile as that deep ball guy. He's definitely just your like solid PPR receiver. I do think he's still pretty consistent on the season. He's 68 catches for 814 yards and only 1 touchdown. So he's having a down year. But I still like Chris Godwin, man. I still think he belongs. He deserves his respect.
See, the thing about Chris Godwin is like Baker Mayfield never projected to be that guy that just wants to hit his slot receiver and like let it work.
Yeah.
He likes to work down the field. A lot of people had this offense as a write-off anyway. Plus, Chris Godwin has 1 touchdown catch on the year. That's such a negative, touchdown regression for what we're used to with Chris Godwin. The volume is there. The volume is completely there. Remember that.
Still got 108 targets on season.
And Godwin's missed time. Godwin misses time every year. I mean, you don't see games missed, but you've seen time miss. He's always banged up.
Hasn't missed a game this year, though.
He hasn't missed a game, but he's missed time in games
that
people aren't going to talk about. On the game sheets, it shows he's played. He does play, but he's missed time. At the same time, Godwin's on the same peripheral. He's working at over almost 12 yards per target here. I mean, this is the same guy we had Godwin as. He's pegged as. He's a slot receiver. He knows how to sit in zone and pick it apart, and that's just what he does. In the last 2 games, we're talking about 11 and 12 targets. We're talking about 23 targets the last 2 games. Maybe we see him and Baker develop that rapport going into the fantasy playoffs, going into the NFL regular season playoffs. As it stands, they are winning the NFC South right now. I'm hoping to see that development there. Just look at the volume. We've seen 5 games over 8 targets or more. Multiple 7-target games. It's Godwin. Godwin's a good receiver.
Yeah, fair play. Yeah, we spent a good time glazing on Chris Godwin there.
You're not leaving me with a whole lot here, buddy, just so you know.
I mean, we're dwindling down. That's what this is all about. I mean, I have my next if you don't take him, if we're being honest.
I mean, how many wide receivers have we ranked here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 for Puka, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. We're at 18 right now.
Yeah, and you can see the cutoff point. It's after QJ and on.
Yeah, I'm going to take Terry here. Honestly, this is the worst season Terry McLaurin's ever had. I truly do not know why this is playing out the way it's playing out. I don't see the heavy utilization for Terry McLaurin. The targets stand out in certain aspects, but at the same time, it just hasn't turned into any quality. But this is more of a resume type thing here. I've never seen Terry McLaurin below wide receiver 27, and that was his rookie year. We're now at wide receiver 31 on the year. This is the worst season of his career. But his resume speaks for itself. He's a wide receiver too. He had the one season where he was playing as a low-end wide receiver 1 last year. So at the same time, I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt, and this is where I think he belongs, low-end B.
That seems fair. All right. You made it tough on me. For some reason, I didn't think you were going to go Terry McLaurin. I thought you were going to let him slide another pick. There's 2 guys here that I'm going back and forth between. It's do I go youth or do I go veteran?
I do think we are now in the end of BC.
Yeah. So 2, maybe 1 guy left in B tier, depending on how you're feeling about it. But I guess next, I mean, daring you like shooting me a dirty look here. I'm between two. I think give me Tyler Lockett. I'm not comfortable with it. It's between him and Christian Watson.
Who do you want?
It's so close for me. I mean, honestly, we might be able to start the C tier with either of them now that I'm thinking about it.
You tell me, bro.
God bless. It's tough, dude. Because it's like, on one hand, you got young offense developing, and then on the other hand, you got Tyler Lockett going to the back half of his career with JSN creeping back up. Man, I hate it, but it's Dynasty. I guess give me Christian Watson next. Look, he spent a good amount of this season hurt.
Where do you want him placed at?
We'll start C. Do you feel comfortable starting C with?
I didn't feel comfortable putting McLaurin in B, but go ahead.
Okay. But yeah, no, I mean, we just hyped up Jaden Reed, but I mean, Christian Watson, we saw him last year. He's productive. He missed some time this year. He's making himself back into this offense. I don't have the exact numbers on the top of my head. Bear with me here. I didn't come as prepared for the back half as I did the front half of this tier list. But I mean, yeah,
Christian Watson is just one of those explosive guys. I mean, he's a downhill, he's a downhill deep threat. I mean, we're talking about back-to-back years of 15 and 15.07 yards per catch. At this point, we're talking about the way he works. He's just one of those guys. He's got the speed. He's got the deep ability to run to do those things down the field. 7 touchdowns last year in that stretch. Remember that stretch with Aaron Rodgers last year? That was magical. It brought a lot of attention to us. But this season, he still has 5. He has back-to-back wide receiver 1 games.
4 touchdowns in 3 games is definitely something not to scoff at. I mean, over 65 in the last 2.
Right. I know he hasn't played since week 13, but week 12, week 13, we got back-to-back wide receiver 1 finishes here. I do think that this comes down to the fact that he just hasn't been on the field. There's really been no rhythm with Jordan Love here. I know he played from week 7 to week 13, but he misses the first 3 weeks. Now he misses week 14 and 15. I'm not sure if he's suiting up this week. He did miss practice again. Obviously, the injury, the way the injuries are playing out for him, I don't like that. So played 14 games last year, missed games last year too. So that's a red flag for me. But I mean, the elite peripherals are there.
Yeah, and it's just like kind of one of those guys. He's young. Maybe he'll figure it out. This whole offense is young. He's 24. He'll be 25 next year. I think if Jaden Reed takes the 1, I think he's the 2 in that offense still with an ascending. Well, I would assume ascending Jordan Love. Ooh, one of your guys is still just sitting here, man.
Yeah. It's been a weird year for him, though. Trey McBride really has become a utilized part of this offense that I always thought Kyler's guy was going to be Marquise. It's been a weird year for Hollywood, to say the least. I mean, the volume is definitely there. I mean, we're talking about, granted, it wasn't there like it was last year, but we're talking about another season over 100 targets. Obviously he wasn't held. Obviously he's missed time here. Kyler's missed significant time, so there's been this, but I don't know how to take it, dude, because I haven't seen anything great from Hollywood. I mean, granted, last year we all know that he was on a wide receiver. He was on the wide receiver 7 on a per game basis with his first year here. I'm a big fan of Hollywood and his game. I'm going to take him in C tier. I don't know if I should take him over Lockett, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Well, I mean, it's tough. The only thing that I'll say about Marquise Brown is like he could deserve to be above both of them, but McBride's been heavily used. They're going to have a high pick. Marvin Harrison's going to be there. I would assume at that point he moves to the 3rd option in that offense.
See, I don't know, dude. I mean, the connection, it's been there since they were at Oklahoma together. I mean, granted, I know if Marvin goes there, he's the best wide receiver that goddamn Kyler Murray's probably ever played with.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All respect to D-Hop.
D-Hop? I was about to say D-Hop still exists, but
all respect to D-Hop. Sorry. But Marvin Harris is gonna be a stud.
Yeah, he's gonna be a problem. Let's be honest. So yeah, I mean, I guess this is a pretty easy layup for me. At least considering who's left on this list. Going into the season, I would definitely put somebody else above him, but we'll get into that later. Give me Tyler Lockett, who's on a contract year. Not contract year. The Seahawks can move on from him in the offseason. So we'll see how that plays out. He's getting up there in age. It's sad to say, but he has been one of the safer players in fantasy football in the past few years. But the fact is, we're talking Dynasty here, and I hate to put Lockett this low because I'm a big Lockett guy, but he'll be 32 next season. Maybe not even on the Seahawks still. He might be floating around somewhere. Yeah, give me Lockett. I mean, especially given who's left in this. A guy that does not miss time. He's always played safe in the field. Always offered you that PPR floor. Give me Tyler Lockett next.
Fair enough. The two are pretty close for me, so you can interchange them, to be honest with you. I think the veteran is the last one in the group. I'm going to take the deep ball guy that I've had a fascination with for 2 years now. Big fan of his. Just one of those guys that, he'll pop up in games here and there. Oh, excuse me. A young guy that I'm hoping Rashid Shaheed, one of my sleepers. Hasn't panned out to be a whole lot, but he has played better than he did year one. We're at 570 receiving yards. Nothing great, obviously. I'm not saying he's going to be a 1,000-yard perennial all-pro type wide receiver. I've just been a big fan of his and his ability to play the deep ball. A.T. Perry hasn't really shown me a whole lot. I think he's the wide receiver, too, in the Saints offense. Doesn't say a whole lot, obviously, because Michael Thomas can't stay on the field anymore. He is cooked. And they can't produce a relatively safe wide receiver one with, how that offense looks, unless you're talking about Alvin Kamara, who catches 80 dump balls a year.
Yeah.
Other than that, I do like Shaheed. I'm a fan of his talent. It's just going to take more involvement for me to, obviously move him up. But I think where we're ranking these guys, it's safe. It's safe.
Yeah, there's only 5 guys left, and not much note for any of the rest of the 5 that we're looking at here. I think the rest of them you can kind of list in any order. Nobody's really gonna.
I missed somebody, but go ahead. Sorry, Shaheed should not be here. Sorry, I missed somebody.
Go ahead, take him. Just fix your mistake.
Sorry, I missed somebody. Shaheed should not be here, guys. I apologize. No, Chark, you stay there. Dotson. Sorry, I missed
that. That was my next pick.
Sorry, I missed Dotson.
I didn't know if you just didn't see him or if you just decided you were going to jump off the deep end with Dotson, but you might have put him back up there. We already covered him. Just put him behind Dotson. We can move on.
No, because you might take him. You might not take him over somebody else. I'm sorry, I missed some of these wide receivers. To be honest with you, I have not been impressed with Dotson's year one as opposed to year two, or year two as opposed to year one.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the only thing that truly impressed me was, the fact that he was working deep down the field last year, has 7 touchdowns last year at a time, missed a lot of games. I'm not impressed with him or Terry McLaurin. Honestly, you can argue the fact that they're not the most, important positions on this team. I honestly think Logan Thomas has played outstandingly well on this team, on top of the fact that the run game has been pretty solid with Brian Robinson mixed in with Antonio Gibson. Curtis Samuel has played lights-out football in certain aspects too. I've been very, very down on Jahan Dotson.
Me too, and especially going into the season, I expected a lot. I mean, you look at the back half of the season last year; he was hand in hand with Terry McLaurin. We've seen both of them take a big, big hit this season, despite Howell throwing the ball more than anybody else or close to anybody else. He's up there in pass attempts. So it's a shame to see them kind of having a down year, but I guess it happens. We'll see how it goes going forward. I still kind of like Dotson based off what I saw last year. I mean, this year's a huge letdown. Don't get me wrong. He probably bit a lot of people in the ass in the late rounds if you were kind of hoping on him to boom, but let's give it time. We'll see. We'll see what happens in his future. And then I So you're bigger on Shaheed than I am. But like I said, there's not a lot of people here left that I feel comfortable with. Just for your sake, let's just throw Shaheed next. We already covered him. And then I'll take the next guy up, which is, I mean, who's left? We got Brandon Cooks, Curtis Samuel, Romeo Doubs, and Adam Thielen.
Yeah, disclaimer, Chase Claypool, not pictured in Miami jersey.
Yeah, in Miami. So of the four, like I said, the last 5, 6 are interchangeable. I think we're still in that same realm. I think these are all razor thin at this point. Most are wide receiver 2 or ancient, or 3 even, with Dobbs and Samuel. I guess just for the youth movement, I'll take Romeo Dobbs next. I mean, I believe he probably still leads the Packers in receiving touchdowns. So I think they're trying to figure this offense out, who's going to be the best. But I mean, I like Dobbs' production. He looks good in some games. It's just he's up and down and all around, and you never really know what you're going to get. Why shoe?
It's been a hell of a youth movement here for my boy Adam Thielen. We're talking about a 33-year-old wide receiver way past his prime here. We're also talking about a guy who I didn't think has transitioned extremely well to the Dallas offense. We're talking about multiple 1,000-yard seasons on multiple teams. But I don't think he's transitioned well to this offense. I think the number 2 option to me speaks to be Jake Ferguson as opposed to a Brandon Cooks. And even possibly in how they use the running backs. So at this point, we're talking about a 30-year-old Brandon Cooks probably going on 31 rest of the season. We're talking about Adam Thielen has had multiple wide receiver 1 seasons this year. Then we're talking about Curtis Samuel, to be honest. So here, I'm gonna take my favorite player out of the bunch here. I'm gonna go with Thielen. I think these 3 are razor close as well, so I'm gonna go Thielen.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll let you finish the last 2.
I mean, does it really matter what order we put them in? I guess give me Cooks and then give me Samuel. I'm so hesitant on that. I just think that Samuel's a little gimmicky. He's played
really well out of the slot.
I was going to say he's played well out of the slot this year, but I think it's like a year in year out basis with him. I don't expect it to be consistent even next year. But yeah, I mean, between the 3, between McLaurin, Dotson, and Samuel, I mean, they've kept it close all year as far as target share goes. I still have an affinity. I mean, do you feel like I just have an affinity for Brandon Cooks is what I've seen in the past, and I try not to let recency bias give me, but would you lean more towards Curtis Samuel here?
I mean, like I said, I haven't liked the transition of Brandon Cooks to Dallas. I haven't thought
I don't either.
It hasn't been what I thought it would be. But I am going to try to lean towards the player on the better offense.
Right. Yeah.
That's so I lean Cooks.
So. Although Samuel been hot recently, but
he has been hot.
Like I said, redraft great this year. Dynasty, nah.
I don't even like their wide receiver 1, as you can tell.
Yeah, true. So that's the NFC. I mean, we got nice little clean tiers going on here.
Please remember, guys, Puka right in here.
Puka, don't forget. Puka is in between Smith and Addison. Keep it up here. He's not in the picture yet, but the final picture we will have Nacua in.
Yes.
Apologize. We really apologize. One of the most promising stories in Dynasty football is not listed on here. It's a shame, but here we are.
Sure. All right. So this is saved. Let me go ahead and save this. We will save it. All right. I'll do it later when we end the podcast, just so we know.
Yeah. Or that works too.
There we go. Let's see. Okay, cool. We're good.
So for now, wrapped up with the NFC. Next week, as soon as we can, we'll get back to the AFC, knock the rest of these out. I think we knocked out some of the best today, which is going to be a tough pitch for next podcast. We hope you come back for the rest. But I think those conversations in those A, B, C tier are just as important as those ones at the top of the S. I mean, a lot of this is going to be closer than we think.
True. I do think though, from the vast majority of the wide receiver position, you are looking at the most talented conference.
Yeah. Right.
The AFC, there's a lot of discretion between youth movement and veterans. A lot of veteran guys in the AFC. So we'll talk with that next week. We're going to do that. We're going to do the AFC next week. Oh, let me stop sharing my screen. Stop being an asshole. Okay, there we go. We appreciate you guys. We had over 25 people in here just chilling, watching. So I hope you take this with a grain of salt. Guys, please remember that we are going to update our final wide receiver rankings. It will be posted on our Twitter, and you can roast us from that point on.
We love it. Please do. I love confrontation in fantasy football. I'll talk my shit too.
So, we appreciate the guys from Yards Per jumping in. Coach and Alex. We appreciate it. Everybody that's here and has watched through this whole thing, vastly appreciate it. We do all the time. We appreciate the platform that we get to come on here and talk fantasy football with you guys. Main stage YouTube is what we wanted to do. Here we are.
Yeah, I just want to say, if we don't go Saturday, if we don't, happy holidays, everybody. We probably won't see you guys until after Christmas. So can't forget that. Hope everybody's got their presents wrapped up. I'm actually sitting in a room full of all my gifts for my friends and family right now. So spend time with your family, give them a hug, tell them you love them, the whole nine.
Yeah,
thank you for the platform, absolutely. And I appreciate anybody that came out tonight.
Yeah, Saturday, I'm not sure what we're going to do. But again, like he said, happy holidays. You're the reason we do this, guys. We appreciate you, and we're